Let's start with Liverpool ahead of a big game at Brentford where they can extend their lead at the top. But Jurgen Klopp's quotes on the man who could succeed him at Anfield, dominating by Leverkusen head coach Xabi Alonso, former Liverpool midfielder. Dave, how big of an endorsement was this from Klopp, who doesn't have any official influence apparently in the selection process for his successor? But this was quite a complimentary passage here.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's actually got involved. He's been drawn on commenting about Alonso's clearly is the standout candidate with his Liverpool connections and how well Leverkusen have been doing this season. They're 3-0 win over Bayern last weekend. You know, they have, I think, 5 points clear, at the top of the Bundesliga. But I thought Klopp would try and shut down any talk about a successor. I think he wants as much business as usual as possible. I think in his comments he kind of tries to say, I'm talking about Alonso, but not in the context of Liverpool. But anything Klopp says about Alonso is very much in the context always of him succeeding Klopp. Alonso is, I think one of those players where a lot of very great players go into management and fail. I thought Alonso was always one of those players. His intelligence as a man and as a footballer, you always believed he would become a successful manager, and that's the way it's proven. I just wonder if there's a slight concern at Liverpool that maybe a Bayern Munich might come in. That they always seem to poach top players or managers from if any other German club is getting the better of them, as Alonso is currently. Maybe there's a little bit of fear at Liverpool they could even lose their number one target.
Absolutely. Well, Daily Express back page has that story as well. Xabi's the best. David, he says he's the best of a generation. But there's nuance, wasn't there, and texture to Klopp's comments, because he actually compared this Bayer Leverkusen side to his Borussia Dortmund side and said that they're better in terms of the games against Bayern Munich in particular. What did you make of this glowing praise for Xabi Alonso?
Yeah, that was interesting, Teddy, because it was Dortmund under Klopp who were the last team to beat Bayern Munich to the Bundesliga title, but he actually puts this Leverkusen team ahead of his Dortmund team in terms of the style. And we can see that all for ourselves. They're doing incredible things. I think it's 31 games unbeaten and they're 5 points clear. They're still in the cup competition, German Cup, latter stages, Europa League as well. So it could be an incredible end to the season for them. And he only was appointed in October 2022. And I was just looking back. Liverpool actually announced on their official website that Alonso had been appointed by Leverkusen. So the affection and the link remains there. We saw just yesterday, I think it was Emma Hayes talking about somebody who has been linked with her job at Chelsea. She refused to go there at all. Completely blocked it out of respect for the potential candidate and also the whole situation. Well, there was none of that from Klopp. And as journalists, we want people to answer questions, and Klopp's done that. And it's really interesting how effusive he has been about Alonso. And I guess we'd all agree he was keen to separate the two. He said it's nothing to do with the rumours, but inevitably, whether he likes it or not, everybody's going to link the two because he is such a prominent candidate. However, obviously Liverpool have a lot of work to do before they get to that point, and they've got to appoint a sporting director first, and that hasn't happened yet. And then the sporting director will have to set about this process, and there may be rival interest, as Dave says, from Bayern Munich. Also, there was a plan for him to stay one more season at Leverkusen, so we can't completely rule that out. But in terms of what he's doing at Leverkusen, it's amazing, and he does look ready for this step up. You suspect that he would be a really strong appointment, but it's certainly not a foregone conclusion just yet.
We're seeing the Telegraph Sports Supplement piece by Chris Bascom on the screens now. Klopp's high praise for standout Alonso. Interesting, the quotes here highlighted by Bascom as well. Dave, the dinosaurs, if you want, Ancelotti, Mourinho, Guardiola, maybe me, will not do it for the next 20 years. OK, maybe Mourinho, but all the rest will not. What did you make of that? Is Klopp hinting at a change in management? Is it a young man's game now?
Yeah, but Liverpool are looking for a long-term successor. I mean, Klopp's, 7-8 years at Anfield is very unusual in the modern game. We've moved on from the sort of Ferguson was a one-off, 25 years. But if you look at a generational shift, and Guardiola, Mourinho, Klopp, Ancelotti have been the dominant managers of the past 15, 20 years, and when you look at the next, on an international, on a world scale. I think Alonso looks like he's pretty much top of the shop at the moment of the emerging coaches, and I think there's real depth to his work as well. I don't think it's a case of he's just a flavour of the month. I think this is a guy who's a really impressive individual, and you can still want to see beyond him into whom Liverpool's first choice would be. It's just as long as they can nail him before a Bayern or another club does so.